Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome to Snacks Thoughts. I say welcome again to Snacks Thoughts. Yes. And I apologize if I'm a little bit off schedule, but it was just a little bit busy earlier. Had some things to take care of. But anyway, let's roll on with it. And what is my thought for today? Well, I found something interesting, it's pertaining to obviously science and technology. And so there was actually 3 programs that I watched, and 2 of the 3 were obviously much shorter. But one of them was by Cornell University, and the name of that particular episode of video was Engineers Create Material Possessing 3 Key Traits of Life. And then there was another one I watched, which was a channel called Seeker, and it was under Focal Point. And they basically touched on synthetic DNA factory is building new forms of life. And then I had the other one, which I watched from the World Science Festival. And that right there, that was actually kind of long, but they basically touched on the same thing, but getting into creating synthetic DNA to the point where they can utilize it to create human beings or artificial life, And I was like, wow. And the crazy part about it, on one of the podcasts, on a thumbnail, it showed synthetic sperm that was tricolored. And it basically is, I guess you can say, synthetic biological material or organisms. They've figured out a way to synthesize or create artificial proteins, and have found a way to cause them to bind together as our actual genes and molecules and proteins in our natural makeup do. But they've artificially engineered it, And so, to me, this sounds kind of crazy, And, I'll be honest with you, it sounds like coming to to the mark of the beast, to be honest with you, where they've gone off and started to create new forms of life. And now, they try to bring it into and introduce it to society or humanity, kind of slower, right, like through a crack. And, they'll tell you what the good things about how they're using it to possibly maybe find cures and things like that. But you never get the full gist of what's going on behind the scenes until they're ready to release their plan. Look at the COVID-19 and the global economy, how we're basically going through a global reset. It started off as something small, but they found a way to open a door and prolong it, and so that they were able to produce or create something else. And that's the deal with this artificial intelligence. I thought that we were at the point where we are at maybe say iRobot, where we're making robots that were sophisticated, but now they've reached a point where they are making artificial DNA, and this synthetic DNA has the ability to reproduce itself, and they are going to also experiment with using this artificial DNA in terms of gene splicing. I don't know how many of you guys remember the movie Splice from several years ago, but basically what happened in the movie Splice was there were the scientists, and what they did, they took different genetic material from a human being and different animals, and what they did, they spliced the genes together, and they were able to create a being called Dren. And if y'all don't, I'll just go through it real quick. If y'all don't remember the story, basically, Dren initially started off as a female, and then as she matured, because she had some human DNA in her, had obviously amphibious DNA, and she had the ability to change sexes, and she would seek, after mating, she would seek to kill off any competition so that her offspring could survive. And the same thing when she turned into to a male. But anyway, it's like they might be creating some artificial or synthetic Frankensteins. But in the programs, they mentioned about possibly being able to bind together artificial DNA with the characteristics, say, of a giraffe or, say, a zebra. And then were able, because it was synthetic and it was artificial, able to take out certain characteristics that they may not want. Basically, genetic manipulation. And there was, at the World Science Festival, in this particular video, there was, I think, a panel of like 5 scientists. And towards the end of the program, they were asked how many of them would vote to be able to create human beings artificially. And all 5 raised their hand. They said that we basically were very close to being able to create human beings, through synthetic DNA. And then they asked the audience, of course, took a poll. And so, there was obviously like a split. Some didn't think that it should be done, and there were those that were for it. But if you get to the point where you are creating synthetic human beings, basically you can breed the human race out and basically breed it into extinction. I don't know exactly how many years we are away from it, but I know it's definitely not far. But they have found a way to create synthetic DNA and produce life, outside of terrestrial life as we know it. They can produce it, anything from plant life to animal life to even different synthetic bacteria, and even close to producing human beings without us having to have a part in it. And they mentioned something where they talked about that how yeast, actually would be able to mate and reproduce its own organisms, reproduce after its own kind. So there's all types of stuff that they're coming up with. So when you hear stuff like this with the artificial intelligence, the sophistication of these new sex robots, it is definitely something to consider and be out on the lookout. I have a video on my YouTube channel where I talked about how the artificial womb is here. Well, now synthetic DNA, it is here, and they have found a way to reproduce life, away from genetic organisms. They found a way to produce it synthetically and artificially in a lab. How about that? But I will leave the links to the videos if you choose to watch them. 2 of them are really short. The one for the World Science Festival, that's about an hour and 20-something minutes long, so you may not want to stick around that long. But it's something to think about, though. The age that we are in and what's been going on behind the scenes. But it's here. Synthetic DNA, it is here, and they intend to use it to reproduce everything from robots to animals to plant life to different type of organisms, and to include human beings. But that's all I have for this one. I wanted to make this one brief and quick, and I'm gonna be coming out with more podcasts and more stuff on my for some military content and other stuff on my YouTube channel. So I'm going to be cranking them out, and I really thank you guys that have supported me and are subscribed to me. And please subscribe to Snack Thoughts. You can find me on Anchor, Spreaker, Radio PBM, Apple Podcasts, iTunes, and a host of other social media platforms. And I do move the videos to or the podcast to YouTube. So just be on the lookout as I have more. And I have a YouTube channel which is known as Eric Broadus YouTube, EricBroadus YouTube, or ericbroadusyoutube.com. So go over there, subscribe to my channel, smash the like button, and when you subscribe, tap that bell and hit all so you can get live streams, any podcasts, any videos, anything that will be coming out on my channel or this podcast. But that is all I have, and subscribe to Snacks Thoughts, SNAKZTHOUGHTS, Snacks Thoughts. Thanks guys for listening, and the name again of this video, Synthetic DNA, is here. So guys, get ready. They're seeking to reproduce life without carnal human beings or, life as we know it. All right, guys. Peace out. That's all I have. Later.